Hello and welcome to another video. In this message, I wanted to touch on and then expand on the concept of um, true self discovery, true recognition of your being, and then touch on the road and possibly the ways it might make us feel as we start to let go of everything that has been familiar to us, or more accurately, everything that we have become dependent on as the identification points of I. And so, as we start to connect to the essence of our truth, to the essence of our existence, and we open ourselves up to the unlimited channel of our creation, what we will recognize, or what we will see, is that the vastness of oneness that rests in our own being, our own expression of I in this form, holds a lot less identification and a lot less personal nuance that we were accustomed to prior to this process. And so, depending on the age you find yourself in at this point in your life, you had that many years to only be dependent and only identify yourselves as these particular things, right? So our self-identification, our way of perceiving self, has only existed through these very narrow, compartmentalized aspects of I that then formed our identity, that formed the existence of this being in a very narrow, controlled, perceived form. And because we have spent so much time acclimating and finding comfort in that style of perception, that style of living, to have identity or identification or limits or limitations to be removed from us, would then cause us some distress. It would cause us some confusion into what is I, what is left there, right? If everything is being removed that is not I, that has in the past limited the actual true expression of I, you will find yourself confused and wondering, what is the I without these identifications? And it's a valid question to ask. And so that confusion is there on the threshold of us letting go of the identity of our limited notions of self that we have come to perceive as our truth, to the transitional point of us identifying or finding our own actual truth without the limiting factors of self, without the identifications, without the labels, without the judgments, without the opinions, without definitions. And so the confusion rests on that threshold between who am I if I'm not this? Because I have yet to accept the vastness of I that is everything, right? And we quite literally are incapable of taking everything, the everything of everything, and deriving identity out of everything, right? When we take certain things out of everything and just select 5 or 10 or 15 different things, we can identify that and we can build our identity and we can hold that and we can find comfort of self in the sense that we can comprehend this block of things. We can comprehend this package. But when the package gets ripped open, and now the package is not any different than the air around it, we have a harder time identifying ourselves if ourselves is one with the vastness. And so because we have become so accustomed to and so used to being packaged into these set of definitions, sets of limitations, and the things that we draw identity from, we then kind of left a gap to comprehend the I on its true scale, and then be comfortable with it. And so my ask here is recognize that the disturbances or fluctuations or confusions or slight irritation actually exists not in anything, but simply the experience of something so vast and so large and so unscopable that we cannot simply start to draw definitions and limitations out of it, and we are lost in the fact that we are no longer identifying or defining and limiting something that we have come so used to limiting in the past. So that vastness of vastness is by default encompasses everything, and that everything by default being unidentifiable, unboxable, just creates discomfort to our new perceived self that is currently gapping this bridge between the limited notions of I and the truth and the expression of I. And so there's a period of time at which you would just simply be getting used to the idea of self-disidentification, right? I started to disidentify your being. And, it will take as long as it will take. But recognize and give yourself comfort in the fact that this is a process to go through. This is its own process that you can calmly take and then embrace the fact that this definitional dissolve, it is the path forward that allows you to integrate into the I, the vastness of your own I. And allow what's on the other side to come closer to you, right? Allow, if you recognize it is normal to feel discomfort and it's normal to feel confused and it's normal to feel discombobulated whenever you are unable to draw self-identity out of something that you have been so accustomed to, that it is okay to sit back and allow this new thing to be your truth and let go of everything that no longer serves your being. Then this newness will start to build its own solid ground. It will help you assimilate and become conjoined with it on the more solid level, to where you feel more at peace and you feel more at home with this larger than self concept of existence. And then, things will just start to flow without the need for identification, without the need for definitions, right? There's already no limits, but now you just will simply be more comfortable with the fact that you're living in this unlimited form. Um, yeah, but recognize that within yourself, right? Recognize the road that you're traveling on this path of self-identification. Um, Vastly basically is dropping off density and weight and identification and definition of boundaries and vessels, just simply falling off of you. And so what you're simply feeling within that lightness is disassociation from everything that you have ever known. And that dissociation does, and quite normally can lead to confusion of where do I belong? What if I'm not this, what am I, right? And so that larger question of what am I is simply you going through that transitional process of becoming your own truth, and then simply releasing the things that you were able to perceive and feel thus far as your truth. Then that they were your truth up until this point, but as you release them, you become lighter and lighter. There will be no definition to draw, right? There will be no limit to set. There will be no limiting factor of self-identification. And so when there is no limit, there is nothing to identify, and there's nothing to comprehend, and there's nothing to be or to grab onto and hold on to as untruth of the truth. And it is okay that in the past there was some comfort associated with that. And they just identify that loss, that confusion is you functioning in the world where now now you feeling a jarred and a floating in the non-identifiable concepts. And so that malleable state of being, as beautiful as it is also confusing. And so confusion is normal. But allow it to become your own new truth. Allow that vastness to just become you, and then recognize that that is a place to be in an unidentification of I, unlimitation of I, and then embrace the other side, right? Embrace the truth of you. And then allow that to conjoin yourself with this new level of comfort. And then comfort it will be. So thank you, and happy living.